What a day that Ollie Pope will never forget. 148 not out. When England lost their 5th wicket, they were still 27 runs in arrears, and it really seemed as though England might lose the test match on the 3rd day. India may be cock-a-hoop, but it wasn't to be for them, because a partnership of 112 for the 6th wicket between Surrey teammates Ollie Pope and Ben Foakes put England right back into the test match. Foakes made a fine 34 in a supporting role, while Ollie Pope reverse swept, cut, pulled, drove, played every shot, as well as plenty of defensive ones as well, in an innings, as I said, he'll never forget. Ben Duckett made 47 and Zach Crawley 31 at the top of the order to give England a flying start. They were 113 for 1 before slipping to 163 for 5, and then came the dramatic fight back. Extraordinary stuff. And England will move into the 4th morning with a lead of 126. That in itself almost certainly not match winning. But Rayan Ahmed is with Ollie Pope for the 4th morning. He's 16 not out. He's looked very comfortable indeed, and there's some batting to come with Tom Hartley and Mark Wood. If England can get that lead up to 200, then India might well have a great deal to consider, and might I even say, Steve Harmison, be worried about.
Yeah, I think India will be concerned. I think India will be very concerned. Rohit Sharma might be concerned about where his team's body language was in that last session. They looked relatively flat. They looked devoid of ideas at times at Ollie Pope and how they were going to try and not so much get him out, stop him from scoring. You stop him from scoring, then you might put pressure on to get him out. He batted beautifully. He rode his luck in the first sort of 20 or 30 runs, which all batters do. They all do. But he just didn't look he looked a complete shadow of the person whose highest score in India was 34. Highest score against India is 81. Somebody who hadn't played a competitive match for 6 months, and he looks a complete different person to the batter that batted in the first innings, who looked all at sea against the spin. So we know how good Ollie Pope is. That's the reason why he's England's vice captain. And today I thought some of his decision making, especially, he was always, whether even when he got off balance and when he was it looked from a visual point of view as though it was awful. He knew what he was doing. He was either getting all the way forward, smothering the bounce and making sure by hook or by crook there's no way you're getting past me, or if he was going all the way back and looking to sort of score off, even if it was last ditch, last minute, and he was keeping the ball out and squirting it through to mid-wicket or squirting it through to extra cover. He was in control of his bat and his hands in his bat, and it might look as though he was sort of last ditch, but he was making sure he watched the ball closely. He let the ball come all the way as far as he needed to do, and that for me was a sign of somebody who wasn't bothered about what it looked like. It was about the number at the end of it, and the number at the end of it is 148 off 208 balls, and he's got England into, well, I think not a match-winning position, but another 40-50 runs on there, and then India will feel as though they're in trouble.
It's certainly a pride-restoring position, that's for sure. Darren Gough, let's not forget that England began the day so positively as well. They needed to take those last 3 wickets quickly. India resumed on 421 for 7, and they took them for just 15 runs. Joe Root finishing with 4 for 79, and thoroughly deserved as well. But then it was England's day with the bat, and Joe Root had bowled 29 overs, so I don't know whether that affected his batting. He was trapped LBW by the excellent, brilliant Jasprit Bumrah, who also got rid of Ben Duckett for 47, the second highest scorer on the day. But as I said, Goffey, this is Ollie Pope's day. He'll hope that the 4th morning will belong to him as well. But one thing we can say, pride restored.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of credit's got to go to England. And I've said a few times on comms, but when people mention the word Bazball, we know what it's about. It's about confidence and believing in your own ability. Nobody's going to get told off if they play a bad shot and get caught out in the deep. Believe in your ability, go out and play it, because you can play. You wouldn't be here if you can't play. And the way they've gone out in Indian conditions in the 3rd innings is as good as I've seen. To get to that total, 315 for 6 in the 3rd innings, when the ball has been turning and the odd one keeping low, I think it's a credit to this England side. Well done. I mean, Ollie Pope, a nervous starter, we know that, especially when the ball's turning. But once he got going, I mean, there were no stopping him. They just had no answer to him. Jadeja, I don't think actually bowled badly today, and he's gone for the gallon. He's gone for 100, and he hasn't bowled badly, and that's purely by Ollie Pope not letting him settle, kept reversing him, the fine sweeps as well, and it was almost impossible for him. And the partnership with Ben Folkes coming in, 34 he had to the party off 81 deliveries. That was a massive partnership. So well done. That's without the runs from Stokes, Bairstow and Root. England are still in an unbelievable position.
Goffey, just stay with you. It's a question to both you and Stephen Thompson, but let's start with you. Do you think that India's bowlers were put under pressure or felt the pressure? England was scoring at 6 and over for the first hour and a bit of their second innings. And you said that you didn't think Jadeja bowled badly, but this wasn't India's best bowling performance, was it? And I just wonder whether England's scoring rate did have them a little bit unsettled.
Yeah, I think it did. I said that they've come with a plan. I know we have KP talking about the sweep shot. Take it out, you don't see India doing it. But England, it's one of their strengths. You look at Duckett and Crawley and Pope, the top three there, got us off to a flyer by... We were talking about it earlier, weren't we, in comms, but the reverse sweep brought so many runs in that first 60 or 70 that England got off to a flyer, and the momentum was with them, and they just kept going. Jadeja beat the bat over 30 times today, but he didn't get a wicket because they also scored off him because they were playing unorthodox shots. Well, you could call them unorthodox. They're pretty orthodox these days, especially for the England batters, to play them. And I don't think India have come up against anything like that before, especially in Indian conditions.
I think the reverse sweep was massive for England. I think that was the big shot that really upset the rhythm to Jadeja and to Axar. I think the Indian bowlers really struggled to know how to combat the reverse sweep. We've seen early on when Axar Patel was bowling to Ben Duckett reverse sweeping hard, because that was the safe shot. You know, the safe shot was reverse sweep because of there was nobody from sort of deep point just behind square. They were the only one that basically in the eye line of Ben Duckett. So when he comes to do the reverse sweep, there was nobody in front of him in his face. So he's thinking, where's the gap on the field? That's the biggest gap on the field. Even if I hit it in the air, I'm not going to hit it hard enough for him to be in the game. So at the end of the day, it's an easy single, and if I connect with it properly, I get 4. And he absolutely nailed it, did Ben Duckett. And from then on, it worked for England. And the turn and ball, when Ollie Pope come in, he utilised the reverse sweep, and because it was turning that much, he was actually hitting it with the spin. So a couple of times on commentary, I was like, "What are you doing, Ollie? There's a deep point. There's a short third. There's a backward point." There was 3 men behind the line on the offside behind square, and he's still nailing it through the field. But when you look at how much it was turning, he was in his eyes, it was a safe shot because he was playing with the spin. He was going hard with the spin and keeping it down. So, look, I think that did upset the Indian bowlers, the rhythm of the Indian bowlers, and I also think one of the big factors of what was upsetting the Indian bowlers was the rotation of strike. I thought the rotation of strike was absolutely brilliant. You know, when the 2 different types of batters was in, Ben Folkes a lot taller, looking to get out down the crease and hit the ball down the ground, and Ollie Pope hitting it square of the wickets, who were also rotating the strike. I think that upset the Indian bowlers as well.
Goffey, Rohit Sharma is a very fine cricketer, and but as a captain, he is known to be reactive rather than proactive. And I just want to pick up on that point that Harmy was saying there, is that his approach appeared to be, by and large, they're playing all these shots, they're attacking us, they will make a mistake soon. The pitch will do the job for us. And I just thought, at least for a time, try and block off that reverse sweep. All the batsmen were playing with freedom and largely without any attacking fielders there for the catch.
I think that's going to be a conversation for India, without a doubt, in that dressing room. The coach is going to be saying, look, this is the way England are going to play. We've seen their plans now. We've got to address it. We've got to stop their scoring shots, make them do something. That's the idea, isn't it? Make them do something different. And the way they have played has been an eye-opener for everyone. And I think it's took India by surprise how comfortable on this pitch, with the ball turning and the odd one keeping low as well. I still think the scoring rate today is remarkable. It's blown me away today. For England to go out and play that way, at the scoring rate they have in the third innings, I'll tell you what, there will be a few worries there for India.
Yeah, play on the ego in a big way, and that is something I think Rohit Sharma is going to have to learn, that playing against England, the way he would normally captain, and there was a couple of times that Axar Patel, when Ben Duckett was sweeping him, reverse sweeping him and sweeping him hard, Axar Patel was asking, can I have a man across? And Rohit Sharma's like, no, his hands were going as to say, calm down, no, let's not react, let's do it our way, as opposed to, well, I think by the end of this series, if England have a good series, India will be spread out. They'll just block them off, just block them gaps off, make sure that you stop the boundaries, and sort of say to England, play on England's ego, which would be, well, we've stopped that reverse sweep, we've stopped the conventional sweep. So you're going to have to do something different, as opposed to, well, what has been, I think, the biggest mistake by all the teams that have played against Bazball, can't do it against us. That's what I think a lot of teams have fallen short of. Fielding captains, fielding bowlers, you can't do it against us. You can't do it against us. South Africa had it when they first came over. Pakistan tried it when they were here. India, for that one-off test match, have tried it. Even Australia, when Australia got to the sort of crux of what was happening, then they readjusted and then they performed. And I think because of that, I think Rohit Sharma's going to have a serious think about how he sets his fields against this England batting unit.
Chetan Narula, England won the first session. They had a very good first session. I think India bounced back with the second session, but they lost the third session heavily. And I wonder, I couldn't help feeling that Rohit Sharma was waiting for something to happen, and I have to say that history suggests that that's a perfectly reasonable approach to an India captain. He was saying they'll make a mistake, calm down everybody, just keep it as it is, and he wasn't proactive.
Yeah, that's the right word, Neil. Proactive. He wasn't really proactive. I wasn't very impressed with his captaincy today, but that happens when you have somebody like Ashwin and Jadeja and Akshar to bowl together. When you have those kind of three spinners, then you tend to wait for things to happen. But again, this was not a pitch where a lot was really happening, because it had really slowed down. Akshar and Ashwin were having a little of a tough day, and Jadeja was the only one who was really turning the ball. So a bit more proactive approach from Rohit Sharma perhaps would have helped. But look, I think the day belonged to England, absolutely. And you know what? I said it live on air and I'll say it again. Indian cricket fans have been very excited about this approach from England, how it's described as Bazball, attacking cricket, this, that, etc. And we were all wondering how it would work in India. And today, on the third day of the first test, Bazball has arrived in India. And let me tell you, India is flustered. They may not be worried at all, because unless England is still batting at lunch tomorrow, that's on day 4, that's the time to get worried. But right now, they are flustered. They've sent their bowling coach for the press conference. That tells you a lot. They haven't sent Jasprit Bumrah, who's taken absolutely brilliant 2 wickets. He's bowled brilliantly. They haven't sent Ravindra Jadeja, who's batted brilliantly, and he's also bowled well. They've sent the bowling coach to defend that kind of a bowling performance, which wasn't too bad. But it's Bazball, or the way England have approached it, they have been second best today.
I have to point out that Ollie Pope was dropped on 110. He just hit a beautiful reverse sweep against Ravindra Jadeja, and then he repeated the shot. That one went for 4. He repeated it the very next ball, got a top edge to Axar Patel, who was the only man at backward point, became backward square leg, who was there to dissuade Pope from playing the shot. He got the top edge, a straightforward catch, and he dropped it. That was on 110. He's now 148. So Goffey, I can't help thinking of Rehan Ahmed. He's just so confident without being cocky, or maybe cocky in a cheerful way, like you were at the age of 20. He just looked the part, and he backs himself as a batsman. he tells people he's a batter who bowls part-time leg spin. So, I mean, if he can stick in there with Pope and another 30 or 40 in the first hour tomorrow morning, then England can seriously contemplate the seemingly impossible coming back from a deficit of 190.
Yeah, I think the plan tomorrow is to come in and be positive again. I think Ollie Pope play. It'll be hard to start again. India will be fresh. Like I said, they'll have had a night's sleep. The plans might change. They'll have had that good chat. It's a big day for him tomorrow. Well, big first session. But Ahmed can play. I've seen him a few times playing for Leicestershire. He's definitely can bat. He's got hundreds. And he's a young lad. He's full of confidence. In fact, like most players now coming into this England side, they all believe, they all get backed by the coach and the captain, and he'll come out and be positive. You saw a couple of shots tonight, not afraid to hit over the top and try something different. And Tom Hartley will be the same. We saw a couple of good strikes from him as well in the first innings. So and we know Woody's not going to die wondering, is he? He can hit a long ball. So there we go.
Yeah, you're just looking at can Ollie Pope maximise and bat through. If he does bat through, you'd expect him, if each of the batters to come in can get, on average 10 runs each. You're close in England being 180, 190 runs in front. Well, fourth innings needing 190 runs. I think you would have took that before the first Test match. Talking about coming into this series, and a lot have been talk about England's youthful bowling attack, the preparation, everything that goes with it. I think if you had said to Ben Stokes, you've got a 190 run fourth innings lead, I think you would have snapped your hands off.
Andrew McKenna is speaking to Joe Root and to Zach Crawley, and we'll have those interviews for you just before the end of the podcast, obviously. But Goffey, you said during the day that you were concerned at Joe Root's elevated status as an all-rounder and how it might affect his batting. He bowled 29 overs. He finished with 4 for 79. I've absolutely no doubt that he'd be pleased as punch and proud to bits of his performance. But you did say that, or expressed a concern that he can't carry on being England's best spinner and their best batsman.
I know, it's going to be a very difficult job for him. We saw he's a better bowler than he gets credit for, but England never mentioned him being an all-rounder when they picked 3 spinners and 1 seamer. That's what they said, right, at the start. So he's come in and he's proved again in Indian conditions he can bowl, Joe Root. But I would be a little bit concerned when anybody, no matter who you are, to bowl 29, 30 overs, if he's going to be the main spinner, if he bowls 29, 30 overs, then he has to go out and bat. If they're 2 down within, 3 or 4 overs, it's going to be very, very difficult for him. So it'll be something he'll have to manage throughout the series. But I'm really pleased for him with the ball. He was brilliant. But I want to see him getting runs. That's what Joe Root gets paid for, to get us loads of runs.
Well, let's hear from the man himself. Here's Joe Root.
Joe Root, a wonderful day of Test cricket, and England have fought their boots off.
Absolutely, that's what we're about as a team. It's for the last couple of years we've been in some similar situations, and we've always found a way to get ourselves back in the game. It took some real brilliance in Popey, some of the partnerships that they put together, but him in particular, the way he's played today has just been an absolute masterclass of how to bat in these conditions. To go and take down that attack the way he did, to manoeuvre the ball, manipulate the field, everything, every aspect of it was just phenomenal. And the fact that he's still there to go tomorrow as well is put us in a brilliant position in the game. There's obviously still lots that can happen, but it just shows that the attitude of the group and of the individual as well to put something like that together and to put us in this position going into the rest of the game.
You've scored big runs in this part of the world. Describe what it's like and the effort that you have to go through. It's hot out here, it's hard. How hard is it to make 100 like that in these conditions?
Yeah, it's tough. It's even tougher when I've never got 100 like that. Not as good as that, not in these conditions. It's generally been a lot flatter, a lot better for batting when I've gone on and made big scores. That was a once in a generation kind of knock, if you ask me. To go and play in that manner, be as ruthless, as clinical as he has been, it's been an absolute joy to watch and an exhibition. And any young players watching or listening, that's how to go about it in this part of the world in particular. So it's not just that. You add on the heat, the humidity, what it takes out of you physically. Still continually make the right decision time and time again, and keep finding ways of putting pressure back on the opposition is. I feel a little bit speechless, to be honest. I'm so pleased for him. He's worked bloody hard to get back from a really difficult injury, to miss out on half the Ashes series, all the stuff that he's had to go through to get back and play Test cricket, and then as vice captain of this team to stand up as a leader and lead from the front like that it's great to see. And the whole dressing room absolutely buzzing for him.
The lead is 1-2-6. Ollie comes back with rain tomorrow. And all of a sudden we start wondering what is possible. I mean, it's a different wicket today than what it was yesterday. It's certainly not going to be any easier tomorrow. What are you guys thinking in terms of, well, look, you want every run you can get, don't you?
Yeah, we're thinking win. That's what we think. That's our mentality as a team. We feel like we can win from most positions. We know we're going to have to play some good stuff, but we're more than capable of doing that. And as you say, there's a lot of things that can potentially go right for us. We just got to keep playing in the manner that we always do, which is on the front foot, being very aggressive, looking to take wickets when we get the chance to bowl, looking to drive this lead forward as much as we can when we're batting. So it's been a phenomenal day's cricket, I think, for the neutral, for both sets of fans, and in particular an England fan.
I've got to ask you about the bowling. 4 for, you love this part of the world. 5 for 8 in Ahmedabad 4 years ago, 4 for today.
Yeah, I didn't see that on the cards at the start of the series, but if you get the opportunity to contribute, you've got to take it. And it's nice to pick up wickets, but it was nice to just get the job done today. I thought we were really good from ball one, to keep them as quiet as we were, to be as consistent we were, to be as challenging as we were. I think it's a really good marker for how to approach the second innings. So again, other good things to take forward into the rest of the game and in the rest of the series as well. It's a long old fight, this 5 test matches, and I think we've laid a good couple of markers down for whatever happens now moving forward.
Rest up well, big day tomorrow.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Joe Root there chatting to Andrew McKenna. Darren Goff, I'm having to pick my jaw up off the floor there. He scored 30 test hundreds, and he said he's never played an innings like that, and he rates Ollie Pope's 148 better than any of his innings.
It's typical Joe Root, though, that if you know him as well as I do, he's he loves other people doing well, and credit to him. It was a good innings. I think Joe's played some brilliant innings, by the way. I think KP played a couple of brilliant innings as well in those conditions. So there's plenty of them, but in the competition, third innings when the ball was turning and the odd one keeping low, I think it was a fantastic innings today. I think it was right up there, but there has been a lot of good innings over the years in Indian conditions, but probably not as many who have scored as quickly as Ollie Pope did.
Steve Harmison, you enjoyed Joe's interview, didn't you?
To be honest, I've enjoyed every interview England have come out with so far in this game. They've been absolute corkers. They've given us some talking points. They've given us a line, and Joe didn't disappoint there. I'd beg to differ with Joe on that one, because I thought the one in Sri Lanka that he played was an unbelievable knock in harsher, from a weather point of view, the harsher humidity conditions. But fair play. Goffey's right. Joe is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He wants his team to do well, and he's always happy for other people to be successful. He's got 30 test match hundreds. He's an absolute great of the game, and if he says that Ollie Pope's innings was one that he was a special one, who are we to argue?
And finally, Goffey, Ben Stokes' insistence that people enjoy themselves when they play in his team means that as much as Tom Hartley might look at the match situation, and Rian Ahmed, when he comes out to bat tomorrow, as much as they might be thinking we need another 50-60, looking at the scoreboard, doing all this mental, that Ben Stokes will send them out there with, have fun, lads.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Just go out and play like you're playing for your club side on a Saturday and Sunday. That's what the energy they bring. That's what they'll be doing. It's a totally different mindset to what it was under Joe Root and probably Chris Silverwood, and that's no discredit to them. I'm not discrediting them whatsoever. I think they're a good coach and a good captain, but it's just a totally different mentality. This team, on the way they play, Stokes, he'll be arm round them both tomorrow and say, just go out and have some fun. Get it slogged. Hit 4s and 6s. Job done.
And he'll say the same to the bowlers. Whatever India need in that fourth innings, Ben Stokes will make his bowlers feel like they're 8 foot tall when they walk out there.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll feel as though they've got, they've got all the protection and all the backing and all the belief to go and get 10 wickets to win the game. Ben will have a huge job on to do to captain the team and marshal and the fielding positions and in-outs, whatever he goes about. He's always looking for wickets. If England can get up to that 180, 190 slot, you'd back Ben Stokes to captain a group who can go on and win this match.
And there you have it, another completely compelling and absorbing day's Test cricket. We can't wait for the fourth morning now. England will resume on 316 for 6, leading by 126 runs with Ollie Pope on 148 and Rian Ahmed on 16.